Okay, my last Should You Pull video dropped literally an hour before the banner, so I wanted to switch it up and actually be early this time. Today, I'm going to be going over Should You Pull for Jessie. First things first, her role in your team is going to be support / turn manipulator. She's going to be interchanging a lot of turns between your party members, and also she's going to be providing support for their damage. Her notable attacks, I have 4 listed down right now. The first one is Surefire Drop, her LD. It has 4 AoE HP dumps, and it delays all enemies by 2 turns. Her spinning back kick, her skill 1, 4 single target HP dumps, and it also delays the enemy by 2 turns. Uprising, her skill 2, also does 4 AoE HP dumps, and it moves the selected ally to follow Jessie's own turn after she moves. And we get to my favorite move probably from her, the show must go on, her EX. It is a whopping 5 AoE HP dumps, it is instant turn rate, and it moves the entire party after her. By far my favorite move out of her kit. Now let's get to Jessie's pros. She is by far the strongest support turn warper. So before, if you like using units like Aphmau, Rem, you're gonna like Jessie because she operates relatively similar to that. And if you guys remember from the notable attack section, she does quite a bit of damage for her role. Another great pro for her is she's great in long fights. Her skill 1 and skill 2 both have 9 and 10 uses respectively. Couple that in with her LD and her EX, she's going to be doing consistent high damage over a long period of time. She's not bogged down by having to rely on any BT effect. She can just be consistent from the start of the battle all the way to the end of the battle. But if you really want to have fun with Jessie, pair her with other manipulators. If you keep interchanging turns between her and other manipulators, that just sounds like a whole lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to be using her for that. These next 2 pros aren't very important, but I still wanted to talk about them. She's a favorite for a lot of fans, especially how Final Fantasy VII Remake portrayed her. I don't even know how relevant she was in the original Final Fantasy VII game, but in the new one, they just randomly made her best girl. I don't know why they did it, but I'm not complaining because she's bae, honestly. Also, I think she's the only one in the game besides Laguna who uses machine guns. I don't understand why Opera Omnia doesn't use machine guns more. You use swords, and you use bows, you use daggers, you might as well use guns. Like, I don't think there's any reason at this point why you wouldn't do that. Let's get to her cons. Jessie is a purely offensive support. Her auras, fortunately, are good enough for her to be the sole support unit if she's the only option you have. All the buffs that she gives to the party are purely for offensive purposes. She has no defensive auras, she doesn't have healing, she doesn't have cleansing, she doesn't have dispelling, she has none of that. All she brings to the table is damage, turn warping, and buffs. That is it. So if you were planning on pulling on her because you're maybe running low on support and you need some extra help, bear in mind that she doesn't have the necessary tools to be on par with units like Porum, Pinello, Yuna. And even from an offensive standpoint, she doesn't have the best of auras either. They are good and they're suitable, but she's definitely by far not the best in the game. There are other support units that are out right now who have better auras than her and also provide a lot of other things that Jessie doesn't provide. Additionally, she has no high turn rate for herself. Apart from her EX, which is instant turn rate, her skill 1, skill 2, and her LDs do not have any abnormal turn effects. She's not going to be pushing herself forward in the turn order, which is a bit sad given that she's her strongest when she's taking turns. So the fact that her not having a high turn rate means that she won't be able to have as much turns if she doesn't have help. That's a bit sad in my opinion. Next up, her delays, while they are very useful at times, they shouldn't be relied on. If we're talking about single target delay, then she has use. But if we're talking about group delay, which is mainly what people are talking about when we're talking about delays, it's very limited. The only way she can group delay is by her LD and her FR, both of which shouldn't be used back to back. On top of that, due to the fact that she doesn't have a high turn rate for herself to be able to fully capitalize on her delays. You know, if her skill 1 had a high turn rate, it would have a lot more use and it would actually make Jessie so much better of a character. But the fact that it doesn't, in my opinion, it hurts her. Next con is her force conditions kind of suck. It's not easy to fulfill at all. Your other party members won't be able to fulfill it completely. The conditions are more or less just for Jessie. The problem with that also is that she doesn't have a BT, so she can't have a burst phase to capitalize fully on her force. We're at a force era right now where a big portion of what determines whether an FR weapon is good or not is its accessibility. Jessie's force weapon, I'll be honest, doesn't have a lot of accessibility. It's mainly for her. You know, even if you have other ranged attackers in your team, the conditions are too specific for even them to capitalize on. It's just not up to par compared with other FR weapons now, and I really don't see the use of having it as your main FR in a fight. So on to my should you pull rating. I am going to give Jessie an A-. She has great auras, and what she brings to the table, she does very well. However, despite how much favoritism I have of her, I can't deny that she's lacking in a number of things. If you're you're getting her and you're planning on using her as your main support, bear in mind that you might have some trouble with fights. I think the best role that she could fill is that of a third-party unit. If you save another unit specifically for support, you can use Jessie to focus more on her turn warping capabilities. That's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!